We used to have this big old fullback named Marv Hubbard. A lot of you guys might remember that name. He was number 44, 6'3", 240 pounds, tough as a nail. Upstate New Yorker, you know, tough on the field, tough off the field. Marv carried the ball 25 times and gained 80, 90 yards. He's fun to be around. Marv carried the ball 25 times and gained 40 yards. He's going to break something. He's going to tear something up, a car, a service station, things like that. And tough guy. Marv used to take this cold medicine that made him talk a lot. You know, it made it cold medicine that made him talk a lot. It was actually amphetamines, but it was cold medicine that made him talk a lot. We're playing Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City, and those great Kansas City Chief teams, if you remember, Buck Buchanan and Curly Culp and Jim Lynch and Johnny Robinson and Emmett Thomas, great Hank Stram coached teams, really good football team. Well, we're playing them up in Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. All week long, as we're practicing in Oakland, Marv is taking that cold medicine, and it's making him talk a lot. And Marv is popping off. Yeah, we're going to go up to Kansas City, and I'm going to run the ball. Kenny's going to throw the ball. We're just going to beat the hell out of the Chiefs. The Chiefs media is taking this stuff and putting it on the bulletin board and creating a huge booby trap for us up there. So we go up to Kansas City to play the Chiefs in Arrowhead Stadium. And we win the toss. We win the toss. We get the ball. They kick off to us. We get the ball on our own 25, 30-yard line, and we go up in the first third down series. We go 2 plays, no gain, 3 or 4 yards. First third down series of the game, first third down play, 3rd and 1. I got a short yardage play called off the left side. And if you remember their middle linebacker, remember all those great players I just named, you know, Buck Buchanan and all those. Remember their middle linebacker? Remember a guy named Curly Culp? And do you remember Jim Lynch, Johnny Robinson, all those guys? Remember Willie Lanier, Hall of Fame middle linebacker? Looked like a Coke machine with a head on it. You know, I got that short yardage play called off the left side, and I got there barking numbers, and I'm going to give the ball to Marv Hubbard, and Marv stands up out of his stance and walks right up over my shoulder. And true story, and looked right at Willie Lanier and said, "Hey, you big son of a bitch, we're going right there." It's hard enough to gain 10 on 3 or 4 downs without your fullback telling the middle linebacker where you're going. "Hey, you big SOB, we're going right there." And he had cold medicine working on it. And so I just leave the play on. I get up there, spin around, give him the ball, and Willie Lanier meets him right in the hole. Bang! It just echoes down through Arrowhead Stadium, and Marv gets up off the bottom of the pile. And he's looking out of the ear hole, he's got a little blood running out of the corner of his nose, and he staggers by me, and he said, "I need to keep my damn mouth shut." Marv Hubbard. Marv Hubbard.
Well, did he learn his lesson?
He learned his lesson. Yeah. And then we had this big old fullback named Pete Banaszak, played at Miami. And we did training camp in Oakland. We've had training camp at a little town called Santa Rosa, California, about 60 miles north of Oakland. And we go up there and take over a motel up there, the El Rancho Motel, for 6 weeks, and that was training camp. And we go up there, and we would have practice twice a day. We'd practice at 9 o'clock in the morning, we'd practice at 3:30 in the afternoon, have a 7:30 meeting, and out of that meeting at 9 o'clock, an 11:30 curfew. And so we'd go do all the meeting, do all this, get out of that meeting at 9 o'clock, run back to the room, splash on all the foo-foo, and go hit the streets for 2 hours before curfew, and go do our public relations work. And so we go do that public relations work and come speeding in back there at 11 o'clock to make curfew and go back in there, and then the coach would come around and check curfew at 11:30. And after he left, after checking curfew at 11:30, we would make up our beds because they would do what they call a spot check. They would come back at 1 o'clock in the morning with the pass key and see if you're in there to make sure you weren't out running doing our PR work.
Yeah.
And so we go in there and make up the bed. So Pete was going to make up his bed so we could sneak out at 11:30 and go hang out. And so Pete would make up his bed. He'd take a pair of jeans and he would put pillowcases or whatever down in here and make it look like somebody was in the bed, put a pair of tennis shoes down at the bed and fold those jeans like somebody was laying in the bed. And he grabbed a little old lamp off the nightstand. He put it under there like somebody was sleeping in the bed. And so we'd take off. And it's gone, doing our thing. The coach would come around with that 1 o'clock curfew, that spot check, come around at 1 o'clock, put a pass key in the door, flip on the light, and the lamp lit up in the bed. Busted. Busted.
Oh.
I like hearing about Earl Campbell.
Earl Campbell. I didn't realize how good Earl Campbell. Like I said, you get to play for a long time with great teams and against great players, and you don't really realized how good these guys are until you get an opportunity to play for them. And they traded Dan Pastorini to Oakland, and I went to Houston, and I got to play for Bum Phillips, and I got to play with Earl Campbell. 5'11 and a half, 240, and just 40-pound heart, tough as a nail, run that high off the ground 100 miles an hour. You know, as tough as he can be. Nobody better than killing the clock. You know, with 2 minutes left in the game, you got to go kill 2 minutes, win the game. And we finally get ahead of Pittsburgh. We were in the Central Division of the AFC, and Pittsburgh dominated the AFC. You know, and we finally got ahead of them one day in Houston, and we got 2 minutes left in the game. And like I said, nobody better than killing the game than Earl Campbell. And so I give it to him, give it to him, give it to him, give it to him 4 or 5 times in a row, 5, 6 times in a row, 6, 7 times in a row. First down, first down, first down, killing that clock. And I give it to him about the 7th, and he just turning his hat around every time. I formation, Earl Campbell didn't have any moves. He had one move, go look for somebody to run over. That was the only thing Earl did, as you well know. And so you give it to him that 9th time, you know, and they're just turning his head around every time I give it to him. I give it to him 9 times in a row. And he comes back to the huddle like Marv. He's looking out of his ear hole, and he's just dazed. And he comes staggering by me and bumps into me, and he says, "Hey, Snake, how about throwing one?"